Most people assume that the healthy drinks they buy from the supermarket are the same as what people used to make and drink centuries ago. But the truth is, what you're getting today has been changed to be sellable, not to remain in its original form. And one of the clearest examples of that difference is kombucha. This drink has existed for over 2,000 years, moving across cultures from ancient China to Russia and Eastern Europe, where it was treated as part of a lifestyle, not a product sitting in a bottle. And that distinction matters, because what people used to drink back then is not exactly what you're buying today. The reason is simple. Kombucha isn't just tea and sugar. It's a living system. It's a continuous fermentation process where bacteria and yeast work together at the same time, creating the real value of the drink. The yeast starts by consuming sugar and producing gas, the natural fizz, as well as a small amount of alcohol. And then the bacteria convert that alcohol into organic acids, like acetic acid, lactic acid, and glucuronic acid, which give kombucha its unique properties. And this is the part most people don't fully understand. Those acids aren't just flavor, they're active compounds that interact with your body. Acetic acid, for example, has been linked in studies to improved blood sugar control and has antimicrobial properties, while lactic acid supports beneficial gut bacteria that play a role in digestion and inflammation. And glucuronic acid is involved in detoxification processes in the liver, helping your body eliminate certain harmful compounds. And all of that might sound theoretical until you look at actual research. A study published in the Journal of Food Protection in 2000 found that kombucha can inhibit the growth of various harmful bacteria due to the organic acids produced during fermentation, which is part of the reason you may notice better digestion and more stable energy levels, especially when it's prepared properly and consumed in moderation. But there's an important point to understand here. Kombucha is beneficial, but it's not something where more is always better, because at the end of the day, it's a fermented drink containing strong acids and a small amount of alcohol, which means quantity matters. In most general recommendations, a moderate intake is around 1 cup per day, which is enough for most people without overdoing it. While excessive consumption or improper preparation can lead to issues like digestive discomfort or increased acidity, and in rare cases, some health problems have been linked to kombucha when it's made incorrectly or consumed in large amounts, as noted in a study published in the Journal of Environmental Health in 1995. This doesn't take away from its benefits, but it highlights something important. You're dealing with a living system that should be approached with balance. Now, let's go back to the key question. Why isn't the store-bought version as alive or effective? The answer is simple. In order for kombucha to be stored, shipped, and sold over long periods without changing, commercial versions are typically pasteurized, meaning they're heated to a level that kills the live microorganisms inside. This makes it stable. It allows it to sit on a shelf. It makes it sellable. But in the process, the living system itself disappears. And what you're left with is not the same thing, but a stabilized version of it, similar in taste but different in effect, and lower in terms of the benefits that come from the biological activity that existed before pasteurization. That's the difference most people don't notice. You're not buying the same thing. You're buying a version designed to be sold. In simple terms, you're looking at two things that appear almost identical, but one is alive and the other is not. And that's why the original version isn't as widespread, because something that's alive is naturally harder to turn into a stable product on a shelf. But despite that, it's not complicated. In fact, the preparation process is much simpler than most people think. All you need is to brew sweet tea and let it cool to room temperature. Then place it in a glass jar and add a small amount of raw, unpasteurized kombucha to start the fermentation process. After that, you cover the jar with a breathable cloth and leave it in a place at room temperature. Not too cold, not too hot. Within about 1 to 2 weeks, you'll notice a new layer forming on the surface. That's the beginning of the system. And at the same time, the drink reaches a stage where it's ready to consume, which you can usually tell by taste when it becomes balanced between mild sweetness and gentle acidity, not overly sour. From there, you're no longer starting from scratch each time, because every batch leaves behind a small portion that can be used to start the next one, making the process easier and more consistent over time. At first, you experiment. Then, after your first successful batch, you open a bottle with natural carbonation and a taste that feels different, something that actually feels alive compared to anything you've bought before. And after a while, you may start noticing a difference in how you feel, especially in digestion, compared to store-bought versions. And over time, you may realize you don't need to buy it at all, because you've built a system that sustains itself and produces the same drink at a fraction of the cost. So the next time you see that bottle on a shelf and think of it as something special or complicated, just remember what it really is. It's not rare. It's not difficult. It's something simple that has been turned into a premium product, even though people have been making it at home for centuries. And the real question isn't whether kombucha is beneficial or not. The question is, do you want the living version or the version designed to be sold? And if this changed how you see something as simple as this, there's probably someone else who needs to see it too. Share it with them so they can benefit. And if you're interested in content that uncovers what's really going on behind everyday things like this, consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming next. And now you know the difference.